Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to actually go through the ultimate benchmarking dashboard that I created. So I created this dashboard for a customer when they were actually do load testing on their on the clusters and VMs, right? They're actually purposely pushing CPU memory on the VMs to see how the host and cluster can handle it. So yes, it's perfectly for load testing. It can also be used for troubleshooting purposes, which I'll show you a real use case after the slide that we actually found troubleshoot. We actually troubleshoot the whole environment because of this dashboard. Right. On top of that, I added maneuvers to see, okay, when this happens, is there any migrations happening? Is it anything shutting down? Is HA kicking in? We'll be able to see events as well. So here's the use case, right? This is actually really happened. So one of the clusters, right, we saw at every weekend at around 2:15 a.m., the cluster spikes up to 100% for a very long time. 100%. Literally, it was running at 10%, 15% for on the weekdays. And all of a sudden it just spikes up to 100%, right? When I saw this, I didn't believe myself. I'm like, is this something wrong with the dashboard? It's actually really correct. But look at this. The memory's not spiking. VMs are not growing, right? The alerts are going up because, the VMs are probably having all alerts on CPU. So when you click on the cluster, it's going to show you all the hosts on that cluster, which is right here. And you see all the hosts are pretty much pegged, right? Remember, all these hosts have like 10 VMs, like at least a dozen VMs on them. And they're all running 100% of the resources on that host, on every single host. That's unbelievable, right? Memory, not so much. I mean, it does affect memory a little bit, but not so much, right? It's still in the green zone. Contention, right? Of course, gonna have contention because all the resources are fighting for each other on the CPU side. Network is not, kind of goes up, but not that much. VMs are not growing that much, right? The C7 actually went down. So it's not a VM problem, right? So and in the end, we found out the issue was they put a scan on every Saturday at 2:15 a.m. that they all run a scan on all the VMs at one time, right? So it caused all the VMs to spike up 100% CPU and pegs all the hosts and the cluster at the same time, right? So now I'm going to show you the dashboard and how to use it. So here's a dashboard. Once you download it, import it to your dashboards. You can search for environment, right? So you see here I have vCenters, clusters, data centers, right? So I'm going to click on the cluster level quick. And rather than choosing your 42 objects or 100 objects, just search for what here to be easier. And when you select it, it's going to show you first these four here is going to be based on the object you selected, whether it's a vCenter, data center, or cluster. It's going to show you the CPU history, right? The memory history, the VM growth, right? And the alerts that spike up that time. And this is for parent and child objects, just so it's also host and VMs alerts, right? Now, when you select the cluster, it's going to show you all the hosts on that cluster, and it's the performance ones you want to see, right? So the reason why it's 7 days, because on the top right here, I put 7 days, right? It's controlled by this here, which I'll show you in a little bit. When I click on it, it's going to change. So you see last 7 days, right? All these hosts on that cluster is 9 of them, right? You can see the historical right there. See the memory, right? So look, contention, network, right? If VMs grew or not, then total VMs, right? Running VMs, total VMs. And like I said, you can actually click on 24 hours and it'll change all these graphs to 24 hours, right? And if you know you were doing benchmarking yesterday at 2 p.m., for example, right, you can actually click on custom. And you see it changed to 24 hours. And if you click on custom here, you can actually click on the calendar icon and select, the time and the date, right, that it happens. Let's say 2:21, from 12 to like that, right? And you press go, and it'll update that to exact time. Right, so not only does it move the host, but also move the VMs on there as well. Right, so it shows you all the VMs that happened during that time as well. And you see updates from CPU, memory, disk latency, right, disk space, and IOPS and network usage, right, on the VM level. Right. And let me change this back to last 7 days. And you see spike, it moves all the graphs at the same time, right? So you can do a correlation between all of them. Yep. And I said before, you see events, and here we go. You see right here, you see this event here. Click on E icons. If there's any events, you can see that there's hot migration happening on, and you actually, if you highlight it, it's going to tell you which VM and which host did it move from. Right, so you see event logs here. If any VMs powered off, if things got shut down, if HA kicked in, or DRS kicked in, it'll show up in these E icons here. Right, and it follows this as well. This top right corner here. So as you can see, this is a perfect benchmarking, also performance monitoring dashboard where you can correlate the cluster, host, and VMs all together in one. Right. Hopefully you guys like it. Feel free to leave any comments for improvements. Thank you.